So you're saving for retirement, but you have that little voice in the back of your head wondering if you're really on the right track. Hey, you're not alone. Here in India, figuring out the best way to plan for retirement can feel like trying to solve a super confusing puzzle. But don't worry. In this explainer, we're going to lay out a clear map for you, walk you through the choices, and help you build the future you actually want. All right, let's jump right in. This right here, this is the million rupee question, isn't it? Because inflation, well, it's like this silent thief that's working around the clock, slowly chipping away at the value of every rupee you save. So the real challenge isn't just saving money, it's making sure your money grows faster than prices do. How do you do that? How do you protect what you've earned? That's exactly what we're here to figure out. I love this quote from the famous basketball coach, John Wooden. And it's so true when it comes to our money. The choices you make today, even the ones that seem small, like which retirement account you pick or how much risk you're okay with, they're all going to compound over the years and have a huge impact on your life down the road. So let's explore your options so you can make a choice you feel really good about. Okay, when we talk about specific retirement savings plans in India, there are three big ones that usually come up. You've got the Employee Provident Fund, or EPF, if you're a salaried employee. Then there's the Public Provident Fund, PPF, which is pretty much open to everyone. And finally, the National Pension System, or NPS. I want you to think of them as three different roads, all leading to the same place, a comfortable retirement. The thing is, each road has its own rules, its own speed limit, and a very different kind of journey. So, what's the single biggest difference between these three roads? Well, it all boils down to one simple but super important idea: the mix of equity versus debt. In other words, how much of your money is being put into the stock market, where there's potential for high growth, versus how much is being kept in safer, more stable investments that pay out a fixed, predictable return. This slide pretty much tells the whole story. On one side, you have EPF and PPF. Think of these as the slow and steady turtles. They're almost all debt-focused. Their number one job is to keep your money safe and give you a predictable but kind of low return. On the other side, you've got the hare, the NPS. NPS brings a big dose of equity, stock market exposure to the party. Its goal is growth, which means it has the potential for much higher returns. And let's be honest, when you're in a race against inflation, you really need some of that hare's speed. So, just how fast has the NPS hare been running? Well, this chart gives us a pretty good idea. As you can see, the equity part of NPS funds has actually done very well, pretty much keeping up with the overall market. Now, they're not designed to be these flashy players that hit a six on every single ball. Instead, think of them as that super dependable batsman who just consistently adds to the score, team, and gets the job done. But here's something that's absolutely crucial to remember. That 20% return we just saw, that's only from the equity part of the NPS. Your actual total return is a blend of both that equity portion and a debt portion. And that debt part acts like a shock absorber, you know? It's there to smooth out the ride and protect your savings from the really sharp ups and downs of the stock market. Now, you might be thinking, okay, if I want that equity growth, why not just invest my money directly in mutual funds? And that's a fantastic question, a really common one, so let's do just that. Let's put NPS side by side with diversified equity mutual funds and see how they stack up. This table breaks it down perfectly. With NPS, you get that steady, reliable performance we just talked about. With mutual funds, it's a bit more of a wild ride. Some will do amazingly, others not so much. NPS also puts a cap on your equity at 75%, whereas with mutual funds, you can go all in, 100% equity if you want. But really, the biggest difference is control. With NPS, your money is locked away until you turn 60. With mutual funds, you have way more freedom and access to your money. That whole lack of control thing brings us to one of the most unique, and let's be honest, most debated features of the national pension system. It's something called a mandatory annuity. It can be a little controversial, so let's really break it down so you know exactly what it is. So, what on earth is an annuity? The easiest way to think about it is like a reverse insurance policy. Instead of you paying a small amount to an insurance company every month, you give them a big one-time payment from your savings. In return, they promise to pay you a fixed amount of money regularly for the rest of your life. You're basically buying yourself a private guaranteed pension. Here's how it usually plays out. When you retire, you take a big chunk of your savings and buy this annuity. Then the insurance companies start sending you that guaranteed income. But, and this is a really important detail, with the most common type of annuity, that big lump sum you invested is not given back to your family when you pass away. That's the price you pay for that lifetime guarantee.
There are other options, of course, but they usually mean you get a smaller monthly payout.
So, what's the catch? Well, that lifetime guarantee isn't free. The return you get on these annuity products, it's not super high. The effective annual return you get on your money, what they call the IRR, is typically only around 7%, and that's before taxes. So, what you're doing is trading higher potential growth for the incredible peace of mind that comes with a guaranteed income. And this is exactly how it all connects back to the NPS. The rules of the NPS say that you must use at least 40% of your final retirement savings to buy one of these annuity plans. The other 60%, that's yours to take out. This is a core part of the system's design, and the whole point is to make sure every single person has at least a basic, guaranteed income stream when they retire. So as you can probably tell by now, NPS has some really unique features. The stock market exposure, that long lock-in period, and this mandatory annuity thing. And like with anything in the world of finance, what one person sees as a huge benefit, another person might see as a major drawback. So let's be fair and take a good look at both sides of the coin. All right, first up, the pros. NPS is kind of like having a personal trainer for your finances. It forces you to be disciplined. For a lot of us, if we suddenly had a huge pile of cash at retirement, the temptation to spend it on something big, a wedding, a new car, helping out family, would be massive. NPS basically protects at least 40% of your savings from your own impulses, and the annuity gives you a safety net, guaranteeing you'll always have money coming in no matter what. Now let's flip the coin. For some investors, those exact same features feel really restrictive. The biggest complaint you'll hear is the lack of flexibility. I mean, your money is locked up tight until you're 60, so if you're dreaming of retiring early, NPS is probably not your best friend. These investors also argue that the mandatory annuity forces them into a low-return product when they feel confident they could manage that money better themselves. So there you have it, the structure, the features, the good and the bad of the national pension system. Now we get to the most important part of all, figuring out if this particular road is the right one for you. NPS is probably a fantastic choice for you if you're someone who really values security and wants a set-it-and-forget-it kind of plan. If you're the type who would rather sleep well at night knowing you have a guaranteed income for life, and you're totally okay with trading some potential for higher returns to get that stability, then honestly, NPS is practically made for you. On the other hand, if you're a more hands-on, do-it-yourself kind of investor, you might lean towards other options. If you trust yourself to manage your own money, you want the freedom to get to it whenever you want, and you're comfortable taking on more risk for a shot at higher returns, then you might be better off building your own retirement plan with things like mutual funds. But here's the best part. This doesn't have to be an all-or-nothing choice. Not at all. You can absolutely get the best of both worlds. A really smart strategy is to create a mix. You could use NPS to build a solid, secure base, just enough to cover your basic living costs in retirement, and then use other investments like mutual funds to aim for more growth on top of that. So when it all comes down to it, there is no single best way to plan for retirement. The right path for you completely depends on your own goals, how comfortable you are with risk, and just your own personality. So take some time, really think about what matters most to you, and then choose the path that feels right in your gut. I really hope this explainer helped make your retirement options a little bit clearer. If you found it useful, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the money topics that matter to you. And hey, if you have questions, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching.